Welcome to the Ultrahuman experience. This session is free for you for the complete experience. Please download the Ultrahuman app.
Hi, my name is Charlotte. It is the end of a long day, and you look forward to a night of restful sleep. Perhaps for now, the noise and the chaos of the day still linger in your mind. And so, before you sink into deep sleep, you set out on an enchanting journey through some of the most serene, stunning landscapes of India. The captivating, magnificent Himalayas. Before we take off on this journey, close your eyes and take a deep breath. And as you breathe out, let go of all your worries. Watch them floating away, far away from you. And another deeper breath in. And as you breathe out, let your worries fade away. Let me introduce myself. I'm a bar-headed Asian goose, a stout-headed bird with bright orange feet, who is set to fly over the Himalayas. This is the world's tallest mountain range and has stunning, cloud-piercing summits. And I am about to take you with me on a journey to experience serenity in the skies. But first, before you rise into the air, you begin to give up everything that weighs you down. Little by little, you shed the burden of your worries. You grow smaller and smaller and lighter until you're soft and sure as a feather. I carry you on my wing. We are ready for takeoff. Feel the wind beneath my wings. It rushes past you as we leave the ground, and then we're up in the air. First, the thrill of the soaring incline. There is a tingle in your stomach, as if a butterfly was stirring in it. And then, as we straighten out into a smooth glide, you feel the breeze gently caress you. You are at peace as you take in the sweeping views of forest and glacial lakes and the steep faces and high ridges. Listen closely. You'll hear the sweet voices wafting through the spring air. That's the collective sound of my feathered tribe here at the Pangot Bird Sanctuary in the northern Indian state of Uttarakhand, bordered by Nepal and Tibet. Let's swoop down to meet them. As the day's first rays filter through the branches, the morning mist lifts and slowly reveals my winged friends. The names of these birds are as vivid as the patterns of their plumage. The brown wood owl is a solemn-looking nocturnal owl with deep black eyes. Draped in chestnut shades, its stark eyebrows are pale orange buff in color. A shy bird with finely serrated wings that makes its flight soundless. It is roosting in a dark, densely foliaged tall tree. We hear the call, first a long, loud hoot, and then a shorter, quivering one that nevertheless resounds in the air. We hover above it and observe from that distance. A master of disguises, it camouflages itself in the shape and color of a stub of wood. You look closely and see its half-closed eyes. We fly ahead to meet other friends distinguished by their dazzling golden bellies that perfectly complement their broad, chalky tail tips, their milky throats, and warm brown torsos. These are the white-throated laughing thrushes. We see specks of glitter in the air. The honey hue of the sunrise bounces off the birds' undersides, lending a sparkle to them. As we pass each other, I lightly lift my left wing, and in response, it gives out a high-pitched whistle. It's a birdie high five. A mixed flock is up and about, filling the forest with a flutter of activity. There's a graceful shimmer of feathers under a forest canopy. That pair of birds in the corner with the jet black hoods are collared grosbeaks, a species of finch. The male bird, which is feeding on pine cones, has a red ruff, and the female bird flaunts a rich, deep yellow plumage. Our gaze meets theirs, and they give us a nod of acquaintance with a gentle, melodious call. A Himalayan woodpecker taps away noisily with its silver beak, using it like a chisel. It wears a crimson crown, and its upper neck is bedecked in black and white feathers. A resident bird, it doesn't migrate, and instead lives all year round in the hole it has carved for itself in the tree trunk. We acknowledge this busy, solitary bird from afar. As we glide ahead, you marvel at the sickle-shaped wings of the slender Asian palm swift. They are like glossy grey crescent moons. The long, deeply forked tail covers its short legs. It drinks, bathes, and sometimes even mates on the wing. The fastest of small birds, the swift greets us briefly in midair and flies on. We move ahead and alight on a bough, pausing our flight there for a short while. The glowing crimson shade of the maroon oriole on a branch nearby soothes your eyes. The pale-eyed songbird is engrossed in a melodic duet. She responds to her male counterpart's call with a long, airy whistle. The sound carries through the air to the sanctuary of your mind, calming your senses. And then it is time to bid these birds goodbye. We are skybound, heading towards the Valley of Flowers. We soar through the chilly air, climbing slowly and steadily, and then we near our destination. You see an infinite carpet of countless colors, punctuated by sensual curves of steep, conical mountains and glittering glaciers. This sprawling Garden of Eden, exploding in a riot of blossoms, is home to over 500 species of plants and wildflowers. An endangered species like the musk deer and the Himalayan black bear. Your heartbeat slows down to match with the unhurried rhythm of the meadows below, filled with bird song. A soft breeze caresses your face. You long to delve deeper into this world beneath your feet. The pristine Brahma Kamal, the sacred flower named after Brahma, the Indian god of creation, blooms here when humans are in the sweet embrace of sleep. It blooms one night in the entire year and wilts before it is morning. I remember watching this mysterious creature of the night coming to life once during a monsoon month. I was lucky to be here in these same fields during the rare event. It was a rainy, wind-swept night, and as I flew over the valley, my eye fell on reddish-brown stalks clenching a pristine bud. She held herself with such reserve, quietly waiting for her moment of glory. A violent gust threatens to uproot her, but she held on. I swooped down to offer some words of encouragement, but as she freed herself from the clasp of the reeds, she told me something I would never forget. My power is to blossom in the face of a thunderstorm. I am the peace in the chaos. Then she boldly transformed into a glorious white masterpiece. Its many pristine petals overlapping in a symmetrical pattern. A pearly lotus that does not grow on lakes, but on the slopes of the Himalayas. And this bar-headed goose got goosebumps. When this otherwise shy plant blossoms with a showy flower, the Brahma Kamal's rich fragrance generously permeates the air. If you pay attention to your breath, you can conjure up this perfume too. The soothing scent seeps into your senses, and your body releases its pent-up tension. Many such treasures are tucked away in the nooks and crannies of this Neverland. The persistent roar of the Alakananda River greets us with gusto, and I dart ahead to show you stretches of forested trails. As we wander further, the valley turns into a bugyal, a high-altitude meadow. I swoop down and help you alight. While I circle around this alpine pastureland swathed in varied shades of green, you walk on the moist grass. This barefoot contact with cool earth gives you a sense of grounding and creates ripples of calm in your being. You feel one with the flowers and the mountains. The vast place opens out before you, filling you with a sense of harmony, like the universe is cupping you in its palms. You feel safe as you hear the tingling of bells adorning the necks of sheep grazing on the hillsides. When you breathe deeply, you sniff the wholesome scent of medicinal plants. You follow the winding trail and meander from one plant to another. You stretch out your arm and let the flowers brush your fingertips. You approach the fragile wonders gently, feeling their feathery touch. On your left, a flower opens and shuts its mouth like a dragon. The tender blossoms in intensely saturated colors are called dog flowers in India. On your right, you see spurts of colors. These wildflowers may look like the tiniest of the alpine beauties, but some of them have the toughest roots. Such is the charm of untamed wildflowers, like you and I. They are free spirits. Their seeds blow in the wind to find new places to grow, and you have to take long, quiet roads to witness their magic. As you walk, you feel as light as these seeds, and the creases on your forehead unfurl. It is a glorious gala of colors. There in the distance is what they call the queen of Himalayan flora, the blue poppy, a shade of striking sapphire with a fragile heart of sunshine yellow. The caramel-hued flowers with plump lips and twisted petals are elegant slipper orchids. The bell-shaped yellow lily here rears its head as if to greet you. A sea of white flowers swirls like a bridal veil over a stretch of the verdant hillock. Buzzing bees land on excited buds, drawing on their amber nectar. As the scent of these blooms, trembling under the light weight of mist, or swaying with the mirth of the wind, washes over you, your breath grows calmer and more relaxed. We begin peering for more sounds of life, and we find botanists observing their surroundings with a keen eye, seasoned trekkers marveling at the landscape, and couples holding hands as they tread this terrain, love-struck. We have a long way to go, and many resplendent scenes await. I whoosh towards you. Once again, you climb aboard this bar-headed goose. We soar into the sky till the fields of flowers are just patches of color far below us. And then we travel to another cloud-kissed land. True to its name, Meghalaya in India's northeast is a state swathed in cotton candy clouds. Its air pure and clean. You may feel that the air is cool as it enters your nose and warm as you exhale. As your mind wanders, place each thought that arises on a leaf and watch as it floats out of sight into this land of hidden caves. It is a place of mysterious corridors formed over centuries by rainwater cutting through rock, mystical forests, and majestical waterfalls. Meghalaya is home to rich botanical diversity and a range of vibrant indigenous cultures. We are in a small town along the India-Bangladesh border. We fly past deep gorges and ravines, which are just a prelude to the real showstopper, the Dorki River. With its pebbled shore, your turquoise waters bears a shimmering crystal clarity that reveals a rocky riverbed. You dip your feet in the water and savor the shivery sensation. Apart from a slight current, the water is very still. Sunlight washes over the landscape, casting flecks of gold on water which is transparent as glass. You spot algae-coated boulders and catfish hovering over the riverbed. Let your breath anchor you in the moment. Imagine that you are an elegant fish swimming in these waters with agility and assurance, discovering its captivating mysteries. This liquid world of tranquility frees you of your emotional turbulence. You look up, past the glimmering surface of the water and the silhouettes of hills dwarfed by the endless sky. Imagine that you are a part of a school of vividly colored fish gathering together for a hypnotic dance. As they swirl through the water, you move with them in a graceful ballet, as if you were one part of a single superorganism. After some dancing in the river's luminous depth, you emerge, and I carry you into the air again. We fly away to my favorite perch, one of the tallest plunge waterfalls in India, Norkaliki Falls in Cherrapunji, the wettest place on earth. Plummeting down from a height of over 1,000 feet, this fall is like a gush of glory. A jubilant white ribbon in a clear drop from a patch of rock, spilling its bounty into an azure plunge pool, the smooth waters exquisitely mirroring the scenery. It is a testament to the grace and exuberance of nature. The rumbling sounds of the waterfall put you at ease. As we go deeper into the forest, we see more waterfalls, as well as impassable rivers slicing the foot trails between villages. The Khasi and Gentia people who trekked these paths had to think of imaginative solutions to navigate this tricky landscape and cross the rivers. The locally abundant Indian rubber tree yields aerial routes that look like ropes. We reach the Non-Griat village, perched halfway up the hill, bordering the plains of Bangladesh, and find a living double-decker root bridge. It has 2 levels of intricate networks of living rubber tree roots, entwined together. The trees are planted on opposite banks of the river, which is hemmed in by mossy hillsides. The bridge is over 100 years old. Betel nut trunks are cut into pieces and used to hold the roots in place and prevent them from fanning out. These bridges grow stronger with time and can endure for almost 600 years. They are hailed as wonders of the world, and even today, villages regularly weave new routes into the mesh, strengthening the network of live roots. It's like a scene out of a Tolkien tale. As we go deeper into the forest, we see dense groves that cling to the hillocks like olive green beards. I drop you gently at the foot of the bridge so you can take a walk on the structure. The bottom of the bridge looks like the net of a hammock, and its tendrils reach out to the water underneath. A river rages below. As you hold on to the organic rails of the bridge, the roots feel like coarse braids. As you step on it, you feel the light sway of the bridge's natural suspension under your feet, and you synchronize your steps with its rhythm. You take a few tentative steps, and the bridge wobbles under you. You steady your feet, take a few brisk steps, and you feel it take your weight more steadily now. It is an intricate dance, and you learn to accommodate its sway under your feet. The bridge seems to extend endlessly, but you take one sturdy step at a time to reach the other end. There I meet you and lift you up on my wings, and we continue our aerial journey through the great Indian outdoors. We are headed to Meghalaya's tropical, wet, evergreen forests. These rainforests, many of which are considered sacred, are steeped in legend and myth. When you see the vast, wind-swept grasslands surrounding the forest, you understand why it is also called the Scotland of the East. We dip and fly into the thick of the forest. The enchanted woods are like a scene straight out of a fairy tale. Wild orchids, short trees with edible leaves, deep red mushrooms, and tall, coniferous trees with straight cylindrical trunks and a thick, dark brown bark with deep fissures. It's a place you want to get lost in. The Morphlang forest in Shillong is preserved by the Lingadore clan. Locals believe that it is inhabited by divine beings and fiercely protected. One of the sacrosanct rules of the forest is that you can't take anything out of it, not even a stray soggy leaf. Everything becomes greener as we go forth into the sacred grove. You see mossy stones that once served as altars. The villagers were known to make offerings to the forest deity. Legend has it that if the deity was happy with the sacrifice, he would appear in the form of a leopard, and if angry, he would adopt the guise of a snake. As we fly further, we feel the brisk embrace of the chilly air, even as the sun casts its net of gold outside the forest. We are now about to soar in the direction of what is often referred to as the last Himalayan Shangri-La, Sikkim. Its biggest claim to fame is Kanchenjunga, the third highest mountain in the world, which lies between India and Nepal. As we approach, we see a magnificent labyrinth of steep valleys, rhododendron groves, and green woodlands. Mountains surround us always in Sikkim and are our steady companions, even when we are soaring across the heart of the city. The Kanchenjunga is a mighty mastiff with 5 peaks. It is as elusive as it is beautiful. Sikkim has 5 main deities who are believed to symbolize the 5 peaks. Despite its colossal size, Kanchenjunga is not easily visible. The view is blocked by thick layers of cloud and mist, lending the Himalayan giant an air of mystery. We are on the Thumbi viewpoint, over 11,000 meters above sea level, offering views of sunset and sunrises, drenched in serenity. It's too late to savor the sight of the mountain, but what you see right now is just as breathtaking. You may not see the peak as the clouds play hide and seek, but you can feel their constant presence. We take a pause and feel its overpowering majesty. We are now hovering over a place that is home to the rare red panda. You may just chance upon it scurrying along the branches of trees. The red flowers that gives the Bursi rhododendron sanctuary its name set the hillsides ablaze. There they are, further ahead on the grassy trail, clusters of pink and white blossoms alongside glacial streams arched by wooden bridges. A sea of crimson splendor, surrounded by the stunning Kanchenjunga range, or the sleeping Buddha dazzles you. We then fly a long distance towards Lake Tsongmo, or Canggu, and the color palette shifts from bright reds to deep cobalt blue. A high-altitude, color-changing lake draped in a gossamer veil of mist is surrounded by imposing, rugged mountains rising towards the Tibetan plateau. The surface of the oval-shaped lake reflects different colors in different seasons. It's early spring and parts of the lake are frozen. It is an ethereal landscape, and your senses soak in the impossible film-set beauty. I drop you here, and you clamber onto a yak, which begins to amble along, taking you for a joyride. On your brief yak safari, you move through rolling ranchlands, taking in the sweeping elegance of the hills and the meditative poise of the Tsongmo Lake. I descend to carry you on my wings again to one of Sikkim's best-kept secrets, Kyusing. In a local Sikkimese Bhutia language, but given the tree that it is found in large tracts around this quiet village nestled among silvery Himalayan peaks. It might also be called the land of chestnut forests. With a mere 200 Buddhist inhabitants, it is nothing short of an idyllic paradise. As we circle over it, we see pops of color punctuating the verdant landscape of cardamom forest and tea plantations. Even deep inside the forest, the vibrant red and green tin roofs of the houses peek out of the lush green tapestry. We move closer to the ground and hear melodic strains of a musical instrument. We follow the sound, a gentle haunting folk song. It leads us to a man sitting in the backyard of his house, strumming a long-necked lute, cut out of a hollowed piece of wood with 7 strings attached to the base. The drumyan. Swathed in sheepskin, it is like a dainty version of a guitar, adorned with floral motifs. Nearby, a younger man, perhaps his son, is chopping firewood with a calm, steady rhythm, as if absorbed in the sense of Zen. Old wooden logs serve as seats under flowering trees in the lush lawn of the house. A green magpie smiles and shares our patch of sky. In the distance, we see prayer flags fluttering elegantly in the light wind against the backdrop of bold stupas of monasteries. The pace of the village compels you to slow down. Every neck of the Himalayas has a distinct charisma. Now, as the sun begins its slow slide towards the horizon, we glide towards the cold desert mountain valley of Spiti, whose name in the local language translates to the Middle Land. You see monasteries and dwellings embedded in cliffs, tightly clinging to each other. Bare mountains and deep gorges formed by the ever-present turquoise-grey Spiti River present a picture of serene grace. There are meditation caves here, dug into the mountain by hand. You start feeling light, tingly, and loose as we approach this secluded land steeped in mysticism. Enveloped by mountains from all sides, this vast, rugged expanse bathes in deep orange luminescence at the cusp of day and night. As we float in the air, dizzy in a sense of equanimity, we fix our gaze on a conical hillock that clutches a disordered pile of chalk white abodes with dashes of red and gold. This Buddhist abbey, straight out of a fantasy novel, is the time-worn key monastery believed to be 1,000 years old. Rebuilt after repeated attacks and an earthquake, it has the aura of a secure citadel, a place frozen in time, existing in a reality where the moment moves slowly, if it moves at all. The air is thick with the flapping sound of sacred streamers of varied hues, quivering in the breeze. Every flutter of the sacred flags strewn across the landscape carries a prayer in the wind. All around, puffy white clouds hug cinnamon and colored summits. A few monks spin the prayer wheels installed at the entrance of the Gompa. The gesture signifies the movement of the sun across the sky. A soft clinging and a whoosh sound follows. The wheels, hollow metal cylinders that are embossed and gilded, are mounted on rod handles. They contain tightly wound scrolls inscribed with mantras. Turning them evokes the power of sound, symbolizing the act of reading aloud sacred Buddhist texts. They are made to be tuned by the forces of hand, wind, water, or fire. We are at the foothills of the mountain, close to steps that seem to swirl upwards into infinity. A gust of wind whistles through the warren of staircases in the monastery. Flat stones carved with the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, which means the jewel is in the lotus. are stacked into careful piles along the way. The mantra is chanted by those seeking a path of enlightenment. We fly over the steps, flanked by bright yellow banisters, and we enter a corridor besides the stairs on top. You imagine this spiritual den in its heyday, a mosaic of rooms, tight hallways, and hidden courtyards. We pass more dimly lit rooms and dart into one the locals call Tengyur. It's a treasure trove of murals, the image of the Buddha in deep dhyana or meditation has you transfixed. It adorns a tanka, a Tibetan Buddhist painting made with ground mineral pigment on silk. The vivid palette and the bold swirls are spellbinding. A mandala mapping a meditative path depicts in two-dimensional form the three-dimensional space inhabited by a Buddhist deity. You are now sluggish. You rest your head on my fluffy shoulders. You are now in the prayer hall filled with maroon-robed monks, a fully functioning training ground for lamas. Over 100 monks reside within the monastery's sacred walls. Some monks blow an oboe-like horn for the evening prayers. The air is dense, with a reverberation of meditative chants. As twilight draws its curtain over the day, the indigo dark sky begins to light up with stars. We fly outside over the jagged moonscape of Spiti. You're filled with immense gratitude for this journey of the glorious Indian outdoors. Your eyes are droopy, and a deep sense of calm washes over you. We reach Pin Valley, and now the sky is studded with countless stars. Humbled, you feel like a tiny speck in this massive universe. As we swoop over the blue water of the Chandratal Lake, your worries seem to fade away into the inky night. The mysterious crescent-shaped lake is known as the Lake of the Moon and has an invisible source of water which fills it up from underground. We descend to the ground and your feet find the earth again. In this dark, silent hour of the night, you hear the crunch of the gravel beneath your feet. The lake shimmers in the glow of the moonlight. The sky seems closer than ever before, as if it is a blanket that's about to wrap you in its warm comfort on this chilly night. You suddenly see a thick band of glowing light amid the diamond dust of the stars. And there, under the Milky Way, you drift into sleep, deep sleep, thinking, the darker the night, the brighter